The Senate rejected a proposal Wednesday that would have repealed major parts of the Affordable Care Act, but Republican leaders were growing more confident about their chances of passing a more modest overhaul of the healthcare law later this week. Republicans appeared to be coalescing around a skinny repeal that would abolish the individual and employer insurance mandates, and perhaps just one tax, in an attempt to sustain their 7-year quest to unwind President Barack Obama's healthcare law. But even if they succeed and start negotiations with the House, they will face significant obstacles in accomplishing anything more substantial. Top Republicans such as Sen. John Thune SD, the chamber's third-ranking Republican, said that although leaders have not yet found the sweet spot between conservatives and centrists, they had picked up support for a more modest plan because it did not include deep cuts to Medicaid. Some Republican senators were simply open to any legislation that could keep alive the roller coaster push for an overhaul. "We're edging closer and closer to getting 50 votes for a bare-bones plan," Thune said. He said leaders were betting that some Republicans who defected on votes this week would feel more pressure to support any bill that emerged from negotiations with the House to face a final vote in the Senate. "Voting on something at the end of the process when it's the only train leaving the station. I think that's a different vote for a lot of people," he said. View graphic. Which healthcare plans? The Senate is voting on more than half a dozen centrists from states that expanded Medicaid under the Affordable Care Act objected to the original Senate draft GOP leaders crafted last month. It would have cut the program for low-income Americans by $772 billion over 10 years and curtailed its long-term growth rate. Yet even if Republicans agree on a minimalist plan to alter the ACA, uniting with their House colleagues to enact a bill would be far more challenging. On Wednesday, even before the skinny repeal came up for a vote, some House conservatives were calling it untenable. Rep. Mark Meadows, RNC, chairman of the House Freedom Caucus and a key player in negotiating the House-passed bill, told reporters recently that a skinny repeal would be dead on arrival in the House and that a conference committee would have to be convened to work out a compromise. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, Kentucky, overcame serious opposition from his rank-and-file members to begin debate on health care, a prospect that seemed dim just last week. President Trump has taken to Twitter and made public statements challenging Senate Republicans to support an overhaul or take ownership of the ACA's failure. But in 2 votes within 24 hours of each other, lawmakers rejected differing approaches to rewriting the landmark 2010 law. The open voting process, which is likely to drag on for the rest of the week, has laid bare the fact that Senate Republicans haven't been able to find a comprehensive replacement for the law they have relentlessly lambasted. Republicans on Wednesday lacked answers for how or even whether they can break their gridlock by simply extending their endeavor, but they appear determined to press ahead. "I think it's a good idea to start with what we agree on and see how big we can get the bill from there," said Sen. Rand Paul, Kentucky, who has pushed for a repeal of the law and has repeatedly clashed with